my channel. Welcome back to another video. I'm Messy Jessie and you're watching. I have never filmed a video so quickly in my entire life, yo. For those who are not already in the know, there has been a countdown on Stephenie Meyer's website for the past 5 or 6 days. Stephenie Meyer, of course, is the legend that gave us the Twilight series. Now, I knew immediately once I saw the backdrop that was being utilized for this countdown, you know, everybody was like, oh my god, like what is it? Is it the Host Part 2? Is it Midnight Sun? Is it a new project entirely? What are we counting down to? Is it movie news? Is there gonna be a play? Are you starting a TikTok? Like what's going on? As soon as I saw the backdrop, I knew that it was going to be the long-awaited, highly anticipated Midnight Sun. The backdrop was just very obviously Twilight trees to me. The countdown ended, I think, around midnight last night, but at that time, even though I had been stalking the website as if by stalking it I could make the countdown go faster, yesterday was actually my birthday, so I just got way distracted with celebrating and responding to all of your really, really wonderful birthday wishes over on Instagram and on Twitter, and I'm just so grateful for each and every one of you who said something nice to me yesterday. Thank you so much. But long story short, I got distracted. I let my guard down, I let it slip, and when I woke up this morning, I woke up hungover on my couch at 1 p.m. Right now, it's like, what time is it?
What fucking time is it?
Right now, it's 2:43. I woke up, I immediately checked her website, and of course, the news got dropped that Midnight Sun, after 12 years of waiting, is going to come out into the world this August of 2020. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with Midnight Sun, this was supposed to be Twilight from Edward's perspective. Now, we were all super excited. All of us Twilight fans were super excited when the book got announced, but then some jerk leaked the manuscript, leaked the first few chapters online, and Stephenie Meyer was just like really heartbroken, really upset, and she was like, you know what, like I just like don't have the heart to create this book anymore. You know, that was a super rough draft. Like she was very uncomfortable with the fact that her work had gotten exposed without her consent, and so she pulled the project. But that hasn't stopped those of us who love the Twilight series from bugging her about it for literally a decade. This literally means that we are going to get one of the most highly anticipated books of all time. It's no secret that Twilight inspired a film franchise. It made vampires incredibly annoying for a 10-year period, but it also was a period where we were reimagining a famous mythological creature and archetype. And of course, Stephenie Meyer's work has had huge implications on the young adult genre as a whole. I read the first book when I was 12 years old. When it came out, I didn't know anything about the book at the time, but I was attracted to the cover, what is now one of the most infamous covers of all time. And I picked it up and I just fell head over heels. It was exactly what I needed at that point in my life. From that point on, I read every single book the day that it came out. Comment down below if you are old enough to remember Barnes & Noble midnight release parties, where we book nerds gather and wait until midnight in Barnes & Noble for a book to get released. And I remember doing that for the final book in particular. I literally went home, I think it was a 700-page book. I went home, I walked up the stairs into my grotesquely decorated room, which in my teenage brain, it was a good idea to have black and white tiled floor. I don't know why my mother let me do that. I remember going into my hideous room, sitting on my bed, and I read that book for 15 hours straight until it was done. I didn't move. Like I went up to get snacks, I had bathroom breaks, but I did nothing for 15 hours but read that book. I was so exhausted by the end of that sit-in that I was having auditory hallucinations. And that's like one of the clearest memories that I have of my childhood, is sitting and binging the conclusion to this series that shaped literally so much about my life. Twilight is the reason that I went to college in Minnesota. Twilight is the reason that my life has shaped up the way that it has. Because at the time, like, I lived in Michigan. And comment down below if you have been following Twilight long enough to remember this yourself. The early editions of Twilight, there was a chat room called, on this website called Chatango. I don't know if Chatango still exists, but there was a chat room where fans of Twilight could go and have a discussion on this really shitty website and meet each other. In that group chat, I met who is now one of my best friends who lived in Minnesota. And when it was time we stayed in touch, and then when it was time for me to look at colleges, because I really wanted to go to medical school, my friend was like, yo, you should come out here to Minnesota where I live and look at the University of Minnesota, because, you know, they have a fantastic medical school. I ended up coming out here with my mother and my godfather, and they got to meet my friend, and then like we toured the campus, and I was like, oh my god, like this is definitely the place that I want to be. So the reason that I moved to Minnesota and ended up ultimately studying what I studied and starting my booktube channel and like my life unfolding here is because of Twilight. And that's insane to me that book, me reading that book, led to me going into that chat room, meeting my best friend, and it altered the entire course of my life. If you have any stories like that with a book, comment with them down below, because I would love to hear about them. But the thing is, now that like I've gotten a little bit older, I ended up throwing away all my Twilight books and kind of stepping away from the franchise, because as I got older, I realized that it was a very specific period in my life, and it's hard for me to look back upon the person that I was and when I was reading those books, because like I was like a super depressed teenager, and obviously those books have a lot of problematic ideologies in them that I know now. And so it's one of those things that's like in a time capsule, right? Where it's not something I can revisit because I'm just so different now. But there was something that was still pulling me to this countdown regardless. I was like, I still want to know the news, and I wasn't anticipating being so emotionally invested. But once I heard, like, even though I knew it was Midnight Sun, once I heard, I saw it with my own eyes, I saw the cover, I saw the release date, it all became real, and I felt like I was a 12-year-old kid, like, all over again. So I'm definitely going to be doing a Twilight reread for the first time in 10 years, and it's gonna be a good time. So I'm going to share with you all of the information that I have up until at this point in time about Midnight Sun. As of right now, Midnight Sun drops on August 4th of 2020, and pre-orders are an option. I highly suggest pre-ordering this book for obvious reasons, right? I'm going to be discussing everything that I know about Midnight Sun up until this point, sharing all the information that I have with you, my thoughts on the cover, and some speculations I have for the book itself, because it has been over 10 years since Stephanie Meyer has written for this series. She's a different person, she's a different writer entirely. How is that going to impact Midnight Sun as a work? She says, I really considered delaying the release until the world was back to normal, obviously referring to the coronavirus situation. But she said, however, one, who knows when that will be? Honestly, the world is never gonna be the same again after this situation. And two, you guys have waited long enough, much longer than enough actually. Working on a book for more than 13 years is a strange experience. I'm not the person I was then. The world is a different place. I can only imagine the way that things have changed for you. My God. But completing Midnight Sun has brought me back to those early days of Twilight. When I first met many of you, we had a lot of fun, didn't we? Throwing proms, and I remember the proms. Like, comment down below if you remember the proms. And hanging out in hotel rooms and reading on the beach. We made hilarious t-shirts and fabulous websites. Yes, we freaking did. We found kindred spirits that are still in our lives now. God, and that's so absolutely true. She promises music, contests, information on the book tour, and more information is going to be posted on the page. One, Midnight Sun is not going to be the book that we were expecting it to be because of how much time has passed. She's a different writer, she's a different person, she has a different perspective on everything. Two, I'm wondering, has she taken to heart the criticisms, the very valid criticisms about the toxicity between Edward and Bella? And is she going... So excited I swallowed my own spit. And is she going to take those criticisms to heart and show that she has grown? Or is she just going to go totally nostalgia, keep the relationship as it was, and kind of write this book as if it were 2008 all over again? I'm very curious about that, but also apprehensive. This book that we're getting is not the original book that she wrote or intended on writing. Fundamentally, it's going to be different. And I'm so curious, is that difference going to be a good difference or a bad difference? And which do you want? Do you want Midnight Sun to be like 2006 all over again, where Steph Meyer wasn't aware of the criticisms of her book? Or do you want to be able to tell that, like, yeah, it has been 10 years and this is a writer who has grown and matured and maybe has a totally different writing style than before? But the story itself, of course, is going to be inherently different regardless because it's from another character's perspective. I have thoughts, and I hope you do too, and I would love to hear all of them down below. My third and final thing that I have to say about this book is the cover. Let's talk about the cover. As somebody who enjoys the same sex, I think this is a great cover. But I don't know if, how do I put this? If this photo was supposed to be as vaginal as it came out. I'm curious about the graphic designer who designed this cover. Did Kristen Stewart design this cover? I'm just asking for a friend. Maybe Midnight Sun is actually going to be the story that we all truly want, which is hate to love between Rosalie and Bella. Because I'm telling you, that cover is gay as fuck. Obviously there's going to be movie buzz, but you know there is no way in a cat's hell that Robert Pattinson or Kristen Stewart are going to reprise their roles. So I'm curious, is there going to be a movie adaptation with totally new characters? Are any of the old cast going to come back? Are they all gonna be like, yeah, no, we're not doing that? Is this potentially an opportunity for us to get the Edward that we deserved? And arguably the Bella that we deserve, but that's not my business. Emily Browning Jr. would have made the perfect Bella Swan. I don't care what anybody has to say about that. Yes, that is going to do it for this video. I'm obviously just so floored and shocked and just thrilled about this news. Let me know what any and all of your thoughts are. Are you going to be pre-ordering this book? Are you against the book at all? Especially for those of you who are like me and have had mixed feelings about the Twilight series, those of you who grew up with the series and then kind of realized, much like many of us Harry Potter fans did, that we have some issues with the writer, and what does it mean to love a book that is a series of franchise that is so inherently flawed, but still means so much to us. And personally, my personal opinions, I've had this stance as long as I've had my channel. It's totally cool. It's totally fine to enjoy and like and love things that are problematic, so long as you don't defend the problematic elements or pretend they don't exist. I do completely agree with Stephanie Meyer that this is a perfect time to drop this book. People are really struggling right now, and escapism is all that we have, and if I'm going to be perfectly honest, I don't think the situation is going to be resolved by August. All of that being said, I'm thrilled with Midnight Sun, and not just because the cover is super gay. If you liked this video, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I would absolutely love it if you would join my dapper family. All of my social media links are going to be in the description box below. Stay safe, and I can't wait to see you in my next video.